Hello, how are you? I'm a little sleepy. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today it is February 24th, 2022. I know better than to commit a crime. 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 I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I should have known better than to be taken in by the fraud. I should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. I should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. I should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. I should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. I should have known better than to be deceived by her, by the salesman. We should know better than to be deceived by the salesman. We should know better than to be deceived by fraud. We should know better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should know better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should know better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should know better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should know better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should know better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should know better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should have known better than to be deceived by fraud. We should know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be commit a crime. I know better than to be commit a crime. I know better than to be I know better than to commit a crime. I know better than to commit a crime. I know better than to tell such a thing to him. I know better than to say such a thing to him. I know better than to say such a thing to him. I know better than to say such a thing to him. I know better than to say such a thing to him. We should have known better than to say such a thing to him. We should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. We should have known better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to say such a thing to him in the environment, in the atmosphere. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to say such a thing to him. I know better than to say such a thing to him. I know better than to say such a thing to him. We should have known better than to trust him. We should have known better than to trust him. We should have known better than to trust him. We should have known better than to trust him. We should have known better than to trust him. Better than to trust him. I should have known better than to trust her. I should have known better than to trust her. I should have known better than to trust her. I should have known better than to offer the job to him. I should have known better than to offer the job to the company. I should have known better than to make the order at the company. I should have known better than to make the order at the shop. I should have known better than to make the order at a fraudulent company. I should have known better than to make the order at a fraudulent shop. I know better than to trust him. 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 I should have known better than to trust him. I should have known better than to trust the company. I should have known better than to trust him. I should have known better than to trust him. I ought to have known better than to trust the company. I ought to have known better than to trust the company. I should have known better than to make the order at the fraudulent shop. I should have known better than to make the orders at the fraudulent shop. I should have known better than to make the order at the fraudulent shop. I should have known better than to shop at the fraudulent shop. I should have known better than to purchase goods at a fraudulent shop. I should have known better than to make the purchase at the store. I should have known better than to make the purchase at the store. I should have known better than to make the purchase at the fraudulent store. I should have known better than to make the purchase at the fraudulent store. I should have known better than to make the purchase at the fraudulent store. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be taken in by the fraud. I know better than to say such a thing in the meeting. I know better than to say such a thing in the meeting. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to say such a thing in front of him. I know better than to say such a thing in front of him. I know better than to say such a thing to him. I know better than to do such a thing. I know better than to commit a crime. I know better than to commit a crime. I know better than to throw garbage on the street. I know better than to throw a garbage on the street. I know better than to throw garbage on the street. I know better than to throw garbage on the street. I know better than to commit a crime. I know better than to throw away the garbage. Throw the garbage away. I know better than to throw away the garbage. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to commit a crime. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw the trash away on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to be deceived by the fraud. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. People should have known better than to throw away the garbage on the street. People should have known better than to throw away the garbage on the street. After the party. The party participants should have known better than to throw away the garbage on the street after the party. The party participants should have known better than to throw away the garbage on the street after the party. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw the trash away on the street. I know better than to say such a thing in the meeting. I know better than to say such a thing in the meeting. I know better than to say such a thing in the meeting. I know better than to say such a thing in the meeting. I know better than to say such a thing in the meeting. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. We should know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I sometimes regret not challenging. I sometimes regret not challenging. I sometimes regret not challenging. I think many people regret not challenging. I sometimes regret not having challenged much in the past. I sometimes regret not having challenged many things in the past. Do you regret not having challenged in the past? Do you regret not having challenged in the past? A good deal of money was spent on the project. A good deal of money was spent on the project. A great deal of fund was gathered. A great deal of fund was gathered to rebuild the burned castle. A great deal of fund was gathered to rebuild the burned castle. I ate a great deal of food. A great deal of water was supplied to the company. A good deal of water was supplied to the disaster-stricken area. A good deal of water was supplied to the disaster-stricken area. Do you want a great deal of money? Do you want to earn a great deal of money? Do you want to earn a good deal of money? Many people want to earn a great deal of money. Many people want to earn a good deal of money. Do you earn a great deal of money? Do you earn a good deal of money? A good deal of money. A good deal of money. A great deal of money. A great deal of money was spent on the project. A great deal of money was spent on the project. A good deal of money was spent on the project. I used to drink a great deal of water after my club activities. I used to drink a lot of water, lots of water, plenty of water. A great deal of water, a good deal of water after exercising, after workout. I used to drink a good deal of water after exercising. I used to drink a good deal of water. I used to drink a good deal of water after exercising. I used to drink a good deal of water. I used to drink a good deal of water. I used to drink a good deal of water. I used to drink a good deal of water. I used to drink a great deal of water. I used to drink a great deal of water. I used to drink a good deal of water. A great deal of water. A good deal of water. A great deal of water. A good deal of water. A good deal of. A good deal of. A good deal of. A good deal of. A great deal of. A good A good deal of water was supplied to the disaster-stricken area. A good deal of fresh water was sent to the disaster-stricken area. A great deal of water was sent to the disaster-stricken area to help the people, to help the refugees. A good deal of water was sent to the disaster-stricken area. I used to drink a good deal of water and juice after the practice, after the training, after the club activity. I used to drink a good deal of juice and water after the exercising, after workout. I want to earn a good deal of money. I want to earn a great deal of money in the future, of course. I want to earn a great deal of money. I want to earn a good deal of money. I hope my dream will come true. I hope my dream will come true. I want to earn a good deal of money by YouTube. I want to earn a great deal of money by YouTube. If it is possible, I will be super happy. I don't want to look back on my adolescence. I don't want to look back on my adolescence. Did you have a good adolescence? Did you have a good adolescence? Do you have good adolescence memories? Do you have good adolescence memories? Do you have good adolescence memory? Adolescence. What was your adolescence like? 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 My adolescence was... I don't want to talk about it. I hate to look back on my adolescence. I don't like to look back on my adolescence. I don't like to look back on my adolescence. I don't like to look back on my adolescence. I don't like to look back on my adolescence. I don't like to look back on my adolescence. I don't like to look back on my adolescence. My adolescence was terrible. My adolescence was terrible. So I want to make the life better now. But thanks to the difficulties, the difficulties made me what I am now. The difficulties made me what I am now. So without difficulties, the current me doesn't exist. Current I doesn't exist. Thanks to the difficulties made me what I am now. Strong man. The difficulties made me what I am now. So without the difficulties, the current me doesn't exist. With difficulties, we can be stronger. The more difficulties you face, the stronger you can be, I think. The more difficulties you face, the stronger you can be, I believe. So, the more difficulties you face, the stronger you can be, I think. This is a good phrase. Don't leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. She left me for another guy. She left me for another guy. She left me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. She left 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 me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. I hope she will not leave me for another guy. Are you upset? When you get bad score on the TOEIC test, will you get upset? Will you be upset? No, not really. When you get bad score on the examination, will you get upset? No. No, I don't get. Oh, on the contrary, I do. On the contrary, I do. By contrast, I do. Whenever I get bad score on examinations, I'm upset. I will be upset. I will be upset. I will be upset. Do you feel like shouting? Not really. Do you want to go to karaoke? Not really. Do you want to shout? Not really. Do you want to shout? Not really. Do you want to feel like eating a lot at midnight? Not really. Do you want to sleep now? Not really. Do you want a day off tomorrow? Not really. Would you like to have a day off tomorrow? Not really. Would you like to have a coffee? Not really. Would you like a coffee? Would you like a coffee or a tea? Coffee, please. Would you like a coffee? Not really. Do you prefer tea or coffee? Do you prefer tea to coffee? Not really. Would you like to have a day off tomorrow? Not really. 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 It is no wonder that the teacher was so angry this morning. It is no wonder that the teacher was so angry. It is no wonder that the result announcement is delayed. It is no wonder that the flight has been delayed. It is no wonder that the flight has been delayed. It is no wonder that the train has been suspended. It is no wonder the train has been suspended. It is no wonder the train is being suspended. The train was suspended. It is no wonder that she get angry at you. It is no wonder she was mad at you. It is no wonder that she was mad at you. No wonder that she was mad at you. No wonder that she was mad at you. It is no wonder that everyone wants to buy masks and toilet papers. It is no wonder that everyone wants to buy masks and toilet papers. It is no wonder that everyone wants to buy masks and toilet paper. It is no wonder that she was angry at you. It was It is no wonder that she is mad at you. It is no wonder that she is mad at you. Our common teacher will show up soon. According to the schedule, the singer will show up soon. According to the schedule, the singer will show up soon. According to the schedule, the singer will show up soon. According to the time schedule, the singer will show up soon. I'm looking forward to from where they will appear. They will show up. I'm looking forward to from where they will show up. Maybe they might show up from the behind or center or left or right. I don't know. We cannot expect, so it's fun. I like to look forward to from where the artist will show up. I'm looking forward to from where the artist will show up. It's one of the attractions of the concert or live, isn't it? Yes. I'm looking forward to from where. I'm looking forward to where the artist will show up from. I'm looking forward to from where the artist will show up. Maybe they might appear from the behind or center or even underground. Many people went to the airport to see the emperor off. Many people went to the airport to see the president off. Many people went to the airport to see the president off. To see the president off. To get a glimpse of a president. To get a glimpse of the president. To get a glimpse of the emperor. To get a glimpse of the emperor. To catch a glimpse of the emperor. To catch sight 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 of the prime minister. To get a glimpse of the emperor. Many people went to the airport to get a glimpse of the emperor. To get a glimpse of the emperor. I went to the airport to see my girlfriend off. I went to the airport to see my girlfriend off. My parents came to the airport to see me off. My parents came to the airport to see me off. Many citizens gathered around the port to see the guest out, to guest off, to see the guest off. All the citizens of the village, gathered at the ferry port to see the guest off. All the citizens of the village gathered in the ferry port to see the guest off. To see the guest off. To see the guest off. How come you are tired so much today? How come you are so tired this morning? How come you are so tired this morning? I think the second stage of the examination was a torture. Was like a torture. I think the job interview was like a torture. The job interview was like a torture and power harassment. The job interview was like a torture. 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 Me being asked by the reporters a lot is like a torture. It was like a torture to be questioned a lot by the journalist and getting spotlights. It was like a torture to be asked many questions by the reporters in front of TV cameras and flashlights. It was like a torture to be asked many questions from the journalist reporters and to get the flashlights. It was worse than the light of thunder. Torture. Have you ever experienced torture? Torture. I don't want to experience torture anymore. I don't want to experience torture anymore. I was forced to study until midnight. It was like a torture. When I was a kid, I was forced to study a lot at home, and which was like a torture. I was sobbing because I couldn't calculate faster. I was very bad at mathematics, and my parents scolded me for not being able to understand mathematics, and I was sobbing because that. I was sobbing for that. I was forced to study a lot. I was obliged 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 to study a lot. I was forced to study a lot. I was forced to study a lot. It was like a torture. I was forced to study a lot. So I was sobbing. I used to sob a lot when I was a kid. When I was small, I used to sob a lot. Kids tend to sob a lot. Babies sob a lot. Kids tend to sob a lot. Kids tend to sob a lot. Sob. Kids tend to sob a lot. 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 Sob, sob. Sob, sob, sob. Did you used to sob a lot when you were small? When you were small, did you used to sob a lot? Sob. The kid is sobbing. The kid is sobbing for a reason. The kid is sobbing. The kid is sobbing because he cannot drink a milk, but he has to drink the milk for his health. The kid is sobbing. The kid is sobbing. I don't know why the kid is sobbing. I don't know why the kid is sobbing. I don't know the reason why the kid is sobbing. I used to sob a lot. Sob a lot. I used to sob a lot. The kids are sobbing. The kids are sobbing. The two kids are sobbing. The two kids are sobbing. The three kids are sobbing. The two 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 kids are sobbing. I used to sob a lot. When I was small, I used to sob a lot. Sob, sob, sob. When I was small, I used to sob. I think everyone used to sob a lot when they were small. I think everybody used to sob a lot when they were small. The kids are sobbing. The kids are sobbing. The kids are sobbing. The kid was sobbing, but thanks to the persuasion of the kindergarten teacher, he stopped sobbing. The kid was sobbing, but thanks to the funny face of the teacher, he stopped crying. The kid is sobbing. The kid is sobbing. The kid is sobbing. The girl was sobbing yesterday. The lady was sobbing in the garden last night. Are you crazy about video game? Are you crazy about video game? Some people are crazy about the musician. Some people are crazy about running. Some people are crazy about the musician. Some people are crazy about the idol. Some people are crazy about the idol. Some people are crazy about the artist. 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 Some people are crazy about the idol. Are you self-confident? I want to be self-confident. Self-confident. I want to be self-confident. I'd like to be self-confident. 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 Are you self-confident? Are you self-confident? Are you self-confident? Are you self-confident? I know better than to trust her. I know better than to trust her. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw the garbage away. Are you self-confident? Are you self-confident? Are you self-confident enough to dive into the water? Are you self-confident? Are you self-confident enough to jump from the helicopter? Are you self-confident enough to challenge anything? Are you self-confident enough to challenge it? Are you confident? Are you self-confident? Are you brave enough to challenge it? Are you brave enough to dive to the blue? Are you confident enough to dive from the bank? Are you confident? Are you brave enough to dive from the bank? I was self-confident enough to dive to the ocean from the bank. Many people are afraid of taking a risk. Many people are afraid of taking a risk, running a risk. Some people are afraid of taking a risk, running a risk. But without taking a risk, we cannot make something great. Without making any risks, we cannot achieve something great. Awesome, stunning, amazing, amazing, amazing. Some people are afraid of. Some people are scared of. Some people are afraid of. Some people are afraid of making mistakes, taking a risk, running a risk. Some people are afraid of taking a risk, running a risk. Some people are afraid of making a risk, taking a risk, running a risk. Some people are afraid of taking a risk, running a risk. Some people are afraid of taking a risk, running a risk. Some people are afraid of taking a risk, running a risk. Some people are scared of taking a risk, running a risk. Some people are scared of. Some people are scared of. Some people are scared of taking a risk. Some people are scared of taking a risk. Some people are afraid 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 of taking a risk. Are you afraid of making a mistake? Are you afraid of making a mistake? Are you afraid of making a mistake? We should take a risk sometimes. We should run a risk sometimes. It's time you took a risk. It's high time you took a risk. You run a risk. It's about time you took a risk. It's about time you run a risk. You run a risk. It's about time you run a risk. It's about time you run a risk. It's high time you run a risk. It's high time you went to bed. How many times did you take a risk ever? How many times did you take risks ever? Have you taken risks? Have you taken risks ever? Have you taken risks? Have you run risks? Have you taken a big risk? 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 Have you run a big risk? A big risk. Have you taken a big risk? Have you run a big risk? Have you run a big risk? Have you run a big risk ever? I've taken risks all the time. I've been taking risks every time. I've taken many risks. I've taken many risks ever. I've taken many risks ever. I've run many risks ever. I've taken many risks ever. I've taken many risks ever. I run many risks ever. I run many risks ever. I've run many risks ever. I've run many risks ever. You should sometimes take a risk. You should sometimes take a risk. You should sometimes run a risk. You should sometimes take a risk. You should sometimes take a risk. You should sometimes run a risk. I'd like to ask her out, but I'm shy. I'm too shy to do that. I'd like to ask her out. 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 I'd like to ask him out. I'd like to ask her out, but I'm too shy to do that. I'd like to ask her out. I'd like to ask her out. I was going to ask her out last night, but I couldn't. I would like to ask her out. I was going to ask her out, yes, last night. I wanted to ask her out last night, but I was too shy to do that. Whenever I see her face, I became like I cannot do anything. Whenever I meet her, I feel like I cannot do anything. Whenever I meet her, I feel like I cannot do anything. I become like a stone. I'd like to ask her out. 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 Can I ask her out? 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 Can I ask him out? How can I ask her out? How can I ask her out? How can I ask him out? Is it possible to ask her out tonight? Can I ask you out? I'd like to ask her out. Is it possible to ask her out? 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 I want to ask her out. I wanted to ask her out. I wanted to ask her out last night. I wanted to ask her out. I am going to ask her out next week. I will ask her out next week. I should be confident. I should be self-confident. I should be confident enough to be able to ask her out. I should be brave enough to ask her out. I should be confident enough to be able to ask her out. I should be brave enough to be able to ask her out. Enough to ask her out. I should be confident enough to ask her out. I should be confident enough to ask her out. I should be confident enough to ask her out. I should be confident enough to be able to ask her out. I should be confident enough to be able to ask her out. I'd like to ask her out. I'd like to ask her out. I'd like to ask her out. How long have you gone with her? How long have you been going with her? How long have you been going with her? How long have you been dating with her? How long have you been going with her? How long have you been going with him? How long have you been going with him? How long have you been going with her? How long have you been going with her? How long have you been going with her? How long have you been going with him? How long have you been going with him? How long have you been going with him? I want to go with her. 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 I'd like to go with her. How can I go with her? How can I go with her? I'd like to go with her. I'd like to go with her. I'd like to go with her. I would like to go with her. I would like to go with him. How can I go with her? How long have you been going with him? 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 How long have you been going with her? Going with her. How long have you been going with her? Going with her. How long have you been going with her? I've been going with her for 3 years. Next month, we will have been going with her 3 years. We will have been going with her. We will have been going with her for 3 years. Next month, we will have gone with her for 3 years. I will have been going with her for 3 years. Next year, I will have going with her for 3 years. Next month, I will have going with her for 3 years. I want to go with her. I used to go with her. But we broke up. I used to go with him, but we broke up after 3 years. I'd like to go with her. I'd like to go with him. I had been going with her for 3 years when we broke up. I had been going with her. I had been going with her for about 3 years when we broke up. I don't want to be on and off. It is not good doing something on and off. It is not good to do something on and off. Consistency is very important. Once you decide it, stick to it, stick with it. Once you decide, stick to it forever. Stick to it, stick with it until you achieve it, okay? It is not good to do something on and off, off and on and off. It is not good to do something on and off. It is not good on and off. It is not good on and off. It is not good to do something on and off. Consistency is very important. Once you decide, stick with it until you achieve it. On and off. On and off. It is not good to do something. It is not good to practice speaking English on and off. It is not good to do something on and off. Once you decide, stick with it until you achieve it. On and off, 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 on and off. Some people do something on and off. Some people cannot persist with something. Some people cannot persist with something and do something on and off. Some people do something on and off. I think many people do something on and off. They cannot continue doing something forever. Now, some people cannot do something forever. They tend to quit and do it again, on and on. Some people tend to do something on and off. Some people tend to do something on and off. Some people are inclined to do something on and off. They cannot persist with it forever. On and off. On and off. Some people tend to do something on and off. Some people tend to practice something on and off. Some people are inclined to do something on and off. 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 Some people tend to do something on and off. It is not good to do something on and off. Keep doing is very important. Consistency is very important. On and off. On and off. How long have you studied English? How long have you been studying English? How long have you studied English? How long have you studied English? How long have you stayed here? How long have you been staying here? How long have you stayed here? How long have you studied? More than 10 years. How long have you been studying today? How long have you been studying today? Since morning. For ages. I have been studying English for ages. I have studied English for ages. I have studied English for ages. I have studied English for ages. I have been studying English for ages. I have studied English for ages. I have been studying English for ages. I have lived here 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 for ages. I have studied English for ages. We have been married for ages. We have been in trouble for ages. For ages. For ages. I have been studying English for ages. I have been studying English for ages. I have studied English for ages. I have studied English for ages. For ages. For ages. For ages. Are you indecisive or decisive? The result is indecisive at all. The result is decisive at all. The verdict is indecisive 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 at all. The verdict is indecisive. The verdict is indecisive at all. The verdict is indecisive at all. Indecisive. Indecisive. Are you indecisive? Some people are indecisive and others not, while others don't. Some people are decisive while others don't. Some people are decisive while others are indecisive. You are as indecisive as ever. How long have you been going with her? How long have you been going with her? Maybe about 5 years? You are as indecisive as ever. You are indecisive as ever. You are decisive as ever. You are as indecisive as ever. Indecisive as ever. You are as indecisive as ever. You are as indecisive as ever. You are as beautiful as ever. You are as crazy as ever. You have as beautiful voice as ever. You have as beautiful voice as ever. You have as beautiful voice as ever. You are as indecisive as ever. The verdict was indecisive at all. The verdict was indecisive. The evidence was indecisive. The evidence found from the soil was indecisive. The verdict was indecisive. What you said was indecisive. What the politician answered was indecisive. What the politician answered to the question was indecisive. What the politician answered is indecisive. 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 What the politician answered was indecisive. What the politician said was indecisive. Are you indecisive enough not to be able to find the restaurant where you want to eat? I used to be indecisive. I couldn't decide where I should eat lunch for a long time, for ages. I used to be indecisive as for the restaurant where I eat for lunch. I eat lunch. I used to be indecisive enough to take maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour to find restaurant where I wanna eat lunch. I used to be indecisive. I used to be indecisive as for finding restaurant where I eat lunch. I sometimes walked 30 minutes or 1 hour to find restaurant. Yes. I used to be indecisive to find restaurant where I eat lunch or dinner. To find somewhere which I find okay. Apply to my thought, to my taste. But to some extent, to a certain extent, we have to compromise. But to some extent, to a certain extent, we need to compromise. And I enter the restaurant, although it is a little expensive or not my taste. I used to be indecisive. I used to be indecisive. Enough to take. I used to be indecisive. I used to be indecisive enough to take 30 or 1 hour to find restaurant where I eat lunch or dinner. It was waste of time, so I tried to enter restaurant although it is not my taste or expensive or not my taste. I tried to, after that I tried to enter restaurant quickly after thinking enough, because walking 30 minutes or 1 hour was just waste of time. I want to settle down. It took me about 1 year to settle down in the new environment. It took me about 1 hour to settle down in the new environment. Can you settle down in the new environment? Can you settle down quickly in the new environment? No, I cannot. Settle down. Settle down. Can you settle down? Settle down. I want to settle down in the new environment as soon as possible. As soon as I can. I want to settle down in the new environment as soon as I can, as soon as possible. I ate as fast as I can. I ate lunch as soon as possible, as soon as I could. I finished my lunch as soon as possible, as soon as I could. I finished my lunch as soon as I could, as soon as I could, as soon as possible. I ran as fast as I could. I ran as fast as I could. I ran as fast as possible. It took me about 1 year to settle down in the new environment. How many years did it take? To settle down? How many years did it take to settle down in the new environment? How many years did it take? Did it take you? Did it take? How many years? How long did it take to settle down in the new environment? How many years? How long did it take to settle down in the new environment? It took about 1 year to settle down. It's dawning on me. It's dawning on me that I'd better spend my time alone. It's dawning on me that it's better to spend my time alone, because I feel the happiest when I'm alone. But I need to be socialized to some extent. I need to socialize with someone to some extent, to a certain extent. It dawned on me that I had been taken in by the salesman. It's dawning on me that the textbook is not suitable for everyone. It's dawning on me that the government is doing something wrong. It's dawning on everyone, that the government is hiding something important. It's dawning on me that the advertisement is fraudulent. It's dawning on us. It's dawning on us. It's dawning on us that the advertisement is fraudulent. It's dawning on us that the advertisement is fraudulent. It's dawning on us. It's dawning on us that the advertisement is fraudulent. It's dawning on me. It's dawning on me. It's dawning on me that studying alone is the best solution. Studying alone is the best way to learn something for me. It's dawning on me that the curiosity is very important. It's dawning on me that the curiosity is very important. It's dawning on me that the curiosity is very important. It's dawning on me that the curiosity is very important. It's dawning on us that the diversity is very important. It's dawning on everyone that the diversity is very important. It's dawning on the country that the diversity is very important. It's dawning on the education system that the English is very important. It's dawning on the education system that the revision is very important. The revision needs to be done. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the salesman. It dawned on me. It dawned on me that it would never work. It dawned on me that project would never work. It dawned on me that project would be impossible. It dawned on me that the project would fail. It dawned on me that the project would be impossible. It dawned on me that the project would be impossible. It dawned on me that the project would be impossible. It dawned on me that the project would be impossible. It dawned on me that the project would be impossible. It dawned on me that the project would be impossible. It dawned on me that the project would be impossible. It dawned on me that the project would be impossible. It dawned on me it would be impossible. It dawned on me that it would be impossible to achieve. That it would be impossible to achieve. It dawned on me that it would be impossible to achieve. That it would be impossible to achieve the goal. It dawned on me that being alone was the best to study something for me. It dawned on me that being alone and study was the best solution for me, best way to learn something for me. It dawns on me that the project is very difficult to achieve. It dawns on me that the passing the examination is very difficult. It dawns on me that the passing the examination is very difficult, very difficult. It dawns on me that that he is difficult to persuade. It dawns on me that he is impossible to persuade. It dawns on me that it is impossible to make his mind change. Make his mind changed. It dawns on me that it is impossible to persuade him. It dawns on me that it is impossible to change his mind. It dawns on me that it is impossible to change his mind. It dawns on me that it is impossible to change his mind. It dawned on me that I had been taken in by the salesman. It dawns on me that it is impossible to change his mind. It dawned on me that it was impossible to change his mind. It dawned on me that it dawned on the company that they should have canceled the purchase from the supplier A. It dawned on the company that the investment should have made much earlier. It dawned on me that I took more orders from the store before the emergency. It dawned on me that it was impossible to achieve. It dawned on me that the project would be failed. It dawned on me that the project would be succeed. It dawned on me that the project would be succeed. It dawned on me that the project would be succeed. It dawned the company that the project would be successful. It dawned the company that the project was very difficult to achieve. It dawned on me that it was very difficult to enter the company. It dawned on me that it was very difficult to persuade her. It dawned on me that it was very difficult to persuade her. It dawned on me that it would be very difficult to persuade her. It dawned on me that it would be very difficult to persuade her. It dawned on me that it would be very difficult to persuade her. It dawned on me that it would be very difficult to persuade her. It dawned on me that it would be very difficult to persuade her. It dawned on me that it would be very difficult. It would be very difficult to persuade her. It dawns on me that it is very difficult to persuade her. It dawns on me that it will be very difficult to persuade her. It dawns on me that it is very difficult to pass the entrance examination of the university. It dawns on me that it will take time to achieve the goal. It dawns on me that it will take more than 2 years to pass the examination. It dawns on me that it is very difficult to persuade her. It dawns on me that the goal cannot be achieved by myself. It dawns on me that the goal cannot be made on my own. It dawns on me that the goal cannot be made by myself. It dawns on me that the achievement cannot be made by myself. It dawns on me that I cannot persuade her enough. It dawns on me that I cannot achieve the goal by myself. It dawns on me that I cannot achieve the goal by myself. It dawns on me that it is impossible to achieve the goal by myself. It dawns on me that it will be impossible to achieve the goal by myself. It dawns on me that I cannot do that by myself. It dawns on me that I cannot do that by myself. It dawns on me. It dawns on me that I cannot do that by myself. It dawns on me that I cannot do that by myself. It dawns on me that I cannot do that by myself. It dawns on me that I cannot persuade her enough. It dawns on me that the goal cannot be done by myself. It dawns on me that the task is impossible to be finished by myself. It dawned on me that the task couldn't be done by myself. It dawned on me. It dawned on me that the tasks could not be done by myself. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. I know better than to throw away the garbage on the street. I know better than to throw away the garbage. It dawned on me that the tasks couldn't be dealt with by myself. It dawned on me that the task couldn't be dealt with by myself. It dawned on me that I couldn't do the task by myself. It dawned on me that I couldn't finish the task by myself. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawned on me that I had been deceived by the fraud. It dawns on me that it will take. It dawns on me that it will take more than 1 year to achieve the goal. It dawns on me that it will take at least 1 year to achieve the goal. It dawns on me that it will take at least 1 year to get the qualification. It dawns on me that it will take at least 1 year to get the qualification. It dawns on me that it will take at least 1 year to get the qualification. It dawns on me that it will take at least 1 year to achieve the goal. It dawns on me that it will take at least 1 year to get the qualification. It dawns on me that it will take at least 1 year to get the qualification. It dawns on me that she hates me. It dawns on me that he loves me. It dawns on me that he loves me. It dawns on me that going to the party is a waste of time. It dawns on me that going to the party is a waste of time. It dawns on me that going to the party is a waste of time. It dawns on me that taking one hour for the commute is a waste of time. It dawns on me that wasting 1 hour for the commute is a waste of time. It dawns on me that taking the commute for 1 hour is a waste of time. It dawns on me that commuting for 1 hour only way and 2 hours both way is a waste of time. It dawns on me that commuting for 1 hour every day is a waste of time. It dawned on me commuting 1 hour would be the waste of time. It dawned on me that commuting for 1 hour was waste of time. It dawned on me that commuting for 1 hour every day was a waste of time. Commuting for 1 hour. It dawns on me that commuting for 1 hour is waste of time. It dawns on me that commuting for 1 hour every day is waste of time. It dawns on me that eating lunch for 1 hour is waste of time. It dawns on me that eating lunch for 1 hour is waste of time. It dawns on me that eating lunch for 1 hour is waste of time. It dawns on me that spending money on jewelry is waste of money. It dawns on me that spending money on jewelry is waste of time. It dawned on me that spending money on jewelry was waste of money. It dawned on me that spending money on jewelry was waste of money. It dawned on me that spending money on brand goods was waste of money. It dawns on me that spending money on brand goods is waste of money. It dawns on me that eating lunch for 1 hour is waste of time. It dawns on me that commuting for 1 hour or 2 hours is waste of time. It dawns on me that commuting for 2 hours every day is waste of time. It dawns on me that commuting for 2 hours every day is waste of time. It dawns on me that it will be impossible to persuade him. It dawns on me that it is impossible to persuade him. It dawns on me that commuting for 2 hours every day is waste of time. It dawns on me that eating lunch for 1 hour is waste of time. It dawns on me that eating lunch for 2 hours is waste of time. It dawned on me that eating lunch for 1 hour was waste of time. It dawned on me that commuting for 2 hours was waste of time. It dawned on me that commuting for 2 hours was waste of time. It dawned on me that commuting 2 hours was waste of time. It dawns on me that commuting 2 hours might be waste of time. It dawns on me that commuting 2 hours every day is waste of time. It dawns on me that commuting 2 hours is waste of time. I like English all along. I like English all along. I don't like you all along. I love you all along. I have been loving you all along. I have been loving you all along. I have loved you all along. I have loved you all along. I have loved you all along. All along. All along. The police officers were checking the man all along. The police officers were supervising the man, suspected man all along from the security camera. The police officers were tracing the suspected man all along. All along. All along. All along. All along. All along. I love studying English all along. I love her all along. The movie was boring all along. The movie was boring all along. The movie is boring all along. The movie was long all along. All along. All along. All along. All along. The movie was boring all along. The movie is boring all along. The movie is The movie is boring all along. The lecture was boring all along. The lecture is boring all along. The lecture was boring all along. The show was super exciting from all along. His performance was perfect all along. His show was exciting all along. Some people are naive enough to be deceived. Some people are naive enough to be deceived. Don't be naive enough to be deceived. Don't be naive enough to be deceived, okay? Don't be naive enough to be taken in. Don't be naive. Don't be naive enough to be deceived. Don't be naive. Don't be naive enough to be taken in. Are you naive? If you are naive enough to be deceived by salesmen, do not. Don't be deceived, okay? Are you naive? Some people are naive enough to be deceived by the salesman. Some people are naive enough to be taken in by the salesman. Some people are naive. Some people are naive enough to be deceived by the salesman. So we have to be careful. Watch out, okay? Some people are naive enough to be taken in by the salesman. Some people are naive. Some people are naive by the salesman. Some people are naive enough to be taken in by the salesman. Are you naive? Some people are naive, while others are not. Some people are naive, and while others don't. Naive. Some people are naive, while others don't. Some people are naive, while others don't. Can you see through her true personality? The professionals could see through my character from scratch. The professionals could see through the character of mine from scratch, from start, from the opening door, from me opening the door. The professionals could see through my character from me opening the door by looking at how I open the door. The professionals and the panels could see through my character from the way I open the door, I couldn't see through her real character. I couldn't see through her. She pretended to be very nice when we first met, but I couldn't see through her real character. I couldn't see through her. I couldn't see through the fraud. 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 I couldn't see through her. I was deceived by her. She pretended to be very nice when we first met. I couldn't see through her. She pretended to be very nice in front of me when met for the first time, but I couldn't see through her. I couldn't understand why she became like that. I couldn't imagine how bad she was actually. I couldn't imagine at that time how bad she would be. I couldn't see through the fraud. I couldn't see through the fraud. I was foolish enough not to be able to see through the fraud. I was foolish enough not to be able to see through the fraud. Can you see through the genuine? Can you see through the copied goods? Can you see through the copied goods? Can you see through the copied goods? Can you see through the difference? Can you see through the difference between the genuine and copied goods? Can you see through the 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 copied goods? I cannot see through the copied goods because the quality is very similar. It looks almost same as the genuine one. How are you? I'm fine. What's up? Not much. What's new? Not much. What's wrong? Not much. Not much. What's wrong? Not much. What's up? What's up? Not much. 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 What's up? What's up? What's up? Not much. 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 I want to get married to her. I want to get married to her. When did you get married to her? When did you get married to her? I want to get married to her. Do you want to get married to her? 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 You shouldn't get married to her. You should get married to her. You shouldn't 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 get married to her. You should get married to her. You should get married to her. You shouldn't get married to her. You shouldn't get married to her. You shouldn't get married to her. You should 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 get married to her. I want to get married to her. If possible, I want to get married to her. If possible, I want to get married to her. If possible, I want to get married to her. If possible, I want to get married to her. Everyone feels down sometimes. Everyone sometimes feels down. Everybody feels down sometimes. Everybody sometimes feels down. Everyone sometimes feels down. Everybody sometimes feels down. Everybody sometimes feels down. Everybody sometimes feels down. Everyone sometimes feels down. Everybody sometimes feels down. Everyone sometimes feels down. Everyone sometimes feels down. Everybody sometimes feels down. Everyone sometimes feels down. Everyone sometimes feels down. Everybody sometimes feels down. Everybody sometimes feels down. Everyone sometimes feels down. Everybody sometimes feels down. I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you. Whenever you go, I'll be there for you. Wherever you are, no matter where you are, I'll be there for you. No matter where you go, I'm with you. I'll be there for you. The sudden surprise delighted me. The present delighted the kid. The present delighted me. 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 Delight. What makes you delighted? What makes you delighted? I want to know what makes you delighted. I want to know what makes you delighted. Good music makes me delighted. The present made the kids delighted. The present delighted the kids. The present delighted the kids. Delighted the kids. Kid. The present delighted the kid. Delighted the kid. Delighted the kids. Delighted the kid. The present 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 delighted the kid. Delighted the kid. Delighted the kid. Delighted the kid. The present delighted the kid. The present delighted the kid. The present delighted the kid. Delight. 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 I want to get such a delight. I want to have a delight. I want to get such a big delight someday. I want to get such a big delight someday. I want to get such a big delight as you. I want to get such a big delight as you. Delight, 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 delight. I went so far as to study English until midnight. I went so far as to get up 2:30 o'clock a.m. I went so far as to buy many textbooks. I went so far as to study abroad. I went so far as to study until midnight. I went so far as to study until midnight. Study so long. I went so far as to study so long. I went so far as to study so long. I went so far as to study so long. I went so far as to study so long. I went so far as to study so long. I went so far as to spend much of my time on studying. I went so far as to spend much of my holidays on studying. I went so far as to spend much of my holidays on studying. I went so far as to spend much of my time on studying. I went so far. I've gone so far. I've gone so far as to spend much of my holidays on studying. I went so far as to study until midnight. I went so far as to study until midnight. I went so far as to study until midnight. I went so far as to study a lot. I went so far as to spend much of my holidays on studying. I went so far as to spend much of my holidays on studying. I went so far as to spend much of my holidays on studying. I went so far as to devote myself to studying. I went so far as to devote much of my holidays to studying. I went so far as to devote much of my holidays on studying, to studying. うん。I went so far. I went so far as to devote much of my life to the studying. My parents went so far as to devote their lives to the work. The professional goes so far as to have extra training after the training. The professional goes so far as to have extra training after the training. The professional goes so far as to have extra training after the practice. The student goes so far as to study extra 2 hours after the school. The student goes so far as to study 2 hours more after the class. The student goes so far as to spend 2 hours for the studying after class. The student goes so far as to study 2 hours more after the class. The student goes so far as to study 2 hours more, 2 hours longer after the class. The student goes so far as to study 2 hours more after arriving at home. The student goes so far as to study 2 hours more after the class. The students go so far as to study 2 hours more after the class. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after the school. Many students go so far as to go to cram schools after the class. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after the class. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after the class. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after the class. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after the class. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after school. Many students go so far as to go to school after school. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after school. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after school after class. I went so far as to go to cram school after school. I went so far as to go to club activities after class. I went so far as to study after 8 o'clock p.m. Although my body was so tired. Tired as I was. So speedy as he drove. I kept silence. I put up with the vomiting feelings. Very hot as it was, I went outside for the walking. Very cold as it was, I went outside to have some walking. I went so far as to go to the cram school after class. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after school. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after school. Many students go so far as to go to cram school after school. I went so far as to study at all. I went so far as to study until midnight, the day before the examination. It's not good. I went so far as to devote much of my holidays to studying. I went so far as to devote much of my holidays to the studying. I lost many money on the gambling. It serves you right. I lost much money to the gambling. It serves you right. It serves you right. Serves you right. Serves you right. Serves you right. It serves you right. It serves you right. It serves you right. Serves you right. It 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 serves you right. I lost much money to the gambling. It serves you right. It serves you right. I got fever. It serves you right because you slept with little blanket. Because you slept without blanket last night. It serves you right. It serves you right. I lost much money to the gambling. It serves you right. 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 I lost much money to the gambling. It serves you right. 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 Negligence might provoke car accidents. Negligence might provoke car accidents. Negligence provokes car accident. So please be careful. Please follow the rules. Please follow the policy. Please follow the law. Compliance. Negligence might provoke car accidents. Negligence might provoke car accidents. Negligence can provoke car accidents. Negligence can provoke car accident. Negligence can provoke car accident. So please be careful. Please provoke her into getting angry at you. Please do not provoke me into getting angry at you. Please do not provoke me into getting angry at you. Please do not provoke me to get angry at you. Okay? Negligence might provoke car accidents. Negligence might provoke car accidents. Negligence can 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 provoke car accidents. The music provoked my old memory. The song provoked my old memory. The song made me remember my childhood. The remarks provoked my anger. What the politicians said provoked my anger. The remarks provoked many angers from the citizens. The remarks provoked the anger from the citizens. The remark provoked anger from the citizens. How arrogant you are! How arrogant you are! What arrogant person you are! What arrogant person you are! How arrogant you are! How arrogant you are! How arrogant you are! What arrogant man you are! What arrogance you are! What arrogance you are! What arrogant man you are! How arrogant you are! How arrogant! No one likes person with arrogance. No one likes person with arrogance. No one likes person with arrogance. No one likes people with arrogance. No one likes people with arrogance. Arrogance. No one likes person with arrogance. No one likes people 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 with arrogance. Are you a person of arrogance? Are you a person of arrogance? Are you a person with arrogance? I cannot deal with the documents at once. Take your time. I cannot finish the documents. I cannot finish the tasks by today. Take your time. It takes much time. It takes much time to deal with the documents, to deal with the tasks. Take your time. Take your time. I cannot catch up. I cannot keep pace with the lecture. Keep your time. Take your time. I cannot keep up with the lecture. Take your time. I cannot keep up with the lecture. I cannot keep up with their level. I cannot keep up with their speed. I cannot keep up with their speed. I cannot keep up with their speed. I cannot keep pace with their speed. I cannot keep pace with their speed. Take your time. 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 Take my time. I take my time. Take your time. Take your time. I will take my time. There are a pile of tasks need to be done by this weekend. I will take my time. I will take my time. There are a pile of tasks needs to be done. There is a pile of tasks. There is a pile of tasks. There is a pile of tasks need to be done. Needed to be done. Needed to be finished. Needed to be dealt with. Needed to be dealt with. Needed to be dealt with by this weekend. I will take my time. There is a pile of documents. A pile of tasks needed to be dealt with. Needed to be done. Needed to be dealt with. 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 Needed to be dealt with by today. I will take my time. I want a day off to reflect on the decision. I want to have a day off to reflect on the decision. I want to have a day off to reflect on whether or not I should buy the house. I want to have a day off, a couple of days off to reflect on whether or not I should take on the job offer. I'd like to have a couple of days off to reflect on whether or not I should take on the job, take on the event, take on the offer. I want to have a couple of days off to reflect on whether I should take on the offer or not. What are you reflect on? What are you reflect on? I would like to know what he is reflect on. Can I know what you are reflect on? Can I know what you are reflect on? May I know what you are reflect on? May I know what you are reflect on? May I know what you are reflect on? I'd like to know what you are reflect on. Can I know what you are reflect on? Okay, I'm reflect on whether I should buy the bike for my health. But there are many kinds of bike. But there are many kinds of bikes, you know. There are many kinds of bikes, so I cannot decide which one to buy. I cannot decide which one to buy. I cannot decide which one to buy. I've got through many ordeals. I've got through many ordeals, so you can do that. Both you and me have got through many ordeals, so I think we can get over anything in the future. I've got through many ordeals, so nothing will hurt me, nothing will bother me anymore, nothing will make me sad anymore, nothing will make me depressed anymore, because I have got through many ordeals ever. I have got through many ordeals, especially last year. Ordeal. How many ordeals did you get through ever? How many ordeals have you got through? What was the worst ordeal you have got through ever? What was the worst ordeal you have got through ever? What was the worst ordeal you have got through ever? I would like to know the worst ordeal you have got through ever. Can I know the worst ordeal you have experienced ever, you have got through ever? Ordeal. What was the worst ordeal, difficulty you have experienced ever, you have got through ever? Ordeal. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.